All right, and we're live.
We
Hey,
are live.
hey, everybody. Thanks for hopping on today. Marie's just running a little bit late, but she'll join us when she can. So very excited about today's show. And thank you, Tony, for this last minute swap. We did have Eli Martyr with Free Melon Society coming on, but he had something come up with work, so we're gonna make the switch. Tony was gonna be on in 2 weeks, but she was able to hop on this week, which we're so thankful for. And I know most of y'all know Toni Weel. She's like the behind the scenes saint that makes everything run within the Freak Sense community, often working tirelessly in unseen ways. And then on top of that, she helps heal so many people who come to her with all sorts of questions regarding detoxing and juicing and the frugivore diet. And she's been studying Dr. Morse pretty extensively for how long, Tony? How long have you been studying
Uh,
under Dr.
it's
Morse?
um, it's a little over 2 years now.
Nice. Yeah, so she's in it. And Dr. Morse is such a powerful source of information, and he was really a pioneer within this sort of, I mean, at least more modern day pioneer for this movement of the frugivore diet and juicing and all sorts of stuff. So we're very grateful to have her with us today. Um, yeah, Tony, did you want to add anything else to give an introduction to yourself or anything else? I know, yeah, yeah. Did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, it was. I have to say, before I met Dr. Morris, I was literally dying. I was like, this is not going to work. Whatever I was doing, I was following medical medium, as millions and millions in the world do, and it creeps me out because I know it is so much of the wrong information. And then when I learned about Dr. Morris, it was like, oh my gosh, now everything makes sense. And actually, about a year after I was certified and I followed all Dr. Morse's classes, including the iridology, I got to meet Charlie and Colleen, and they were into fruit. So I was like, see, I was right. This is what it is. And I started to get better. But I also know the pitfalls, when you don't keep to your mostly fruit diet, and you can go back to square one way too easy. But
Mm,
it's a lifestyle change, and I love it. And yes, I can see a lot of people heal from it. It's I'm not the healer; they heal themselves. They have the power, and I think that is one of the most important messages that I want people to get out of this, that they have the power about their own body. Not a doctor, not your family, it's you.
Beautifully well said. Yeah, I mean, we can guide people towards the truth and towards their methods of healing themselves, but ultimately it has to be a solo journey of you stepping out and saying, you know what, I'm committed to this. I recognize what I have to do, and I got to do it. And that's indicative of health and spiritual journey and all of it. We've got to really take ownership of it and can't be relying on gurus or healers or doctors or whoever else to do it for us. So yeah, well said. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Kasey, did you have anything you want to touch on as an introduction?
Well, just not really, but just adding to that, like it's so empowering to realize you're the one healing yourself. I remember like when I was sick, had ulcerative colitis, depressed, jobless, single, like life sucked. And I met my friend that a friend from high school. We just used to laugh so often together. We'd laugh so hard together. Like we're just kindred spirits. Sometimes you meet somebody and just immediately like, oh, we have to be friends. I told him that later, like a year after we met. I said, the first time I saw you, he walked into our classroom. I was like, I got to be that guy's friend. And he's like, no way. I thought the same exact thing when I looked at you. So he told me about The Secret. And I don't know where y'all lie on the law of attraction type of stuff, but I used that to get myself better. Like I realized, okay, I'm causing this sickness. I'm causing the depression. Like it's all up to me. I was waiting for someone to save me. Like I was just helpless. And that's what empowered me. So realizing that, like it's all about the mind, and then you'll find the path that heals you. So Yeah, so I know a lot of people don't like that law of attraction because they think it's, oh, I want a Porsche and I can't wait, it's all material, but it can be totally spiritual and physical health, and just focus on what you want, make goals. This is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on the secret in that law of attraction stuff, it's very much based in the truth. But where you just have to be a little wary of is how they pose that message to only steer it towards physical possessions. And so it tricks us into this sort of self-serving mentality of like, oh, I can manifest anything, and I don't actually have to do any work or serve anyone else or step into the virtues or anything of that nature, which is a half truth that can twist people up. And it's ultimately, I see it as kind of a slippery slope towards because Satanism is really just the worship of self above all else, to where I disregard anything else and I'm just going to serve myself to acquire what I need. Um, so it's kind of used in that sort of way, but there is a lot of truth to it, and that's why all of these, like gurus like Eckhart Tolle and a lot of people that Oprah's had on her shows, like they start out speaking the truth and they start out saying a lot of truth, but then at some point or another they get distorted and they start steering people down the wrong way. So as long as you're wary of that and you're vigilant, then you can pick out the bits of gold within them and disregard the lies. So yeah, that's just kind of my take on that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you could totally just use it for money and shallow things, and it's not going to bring you happiness. Like you can go down that route and see, like, okay, I got all this money and what can I buy? And can't buy happiness. It's nice to have, like, you can buy organic fruit. That's great. It's expensive here, but you can't, like, physically, it's not happening. I've like spent a lot of work on camera gear and acquiring stuff, and it's like, it's always, as soon as you get like what you think is the best thing for you, you're always thinking, okay, what's the next thing now? Like it never ends. No matter what, you could get the best camera right now. You're like, oh, what could I get to improve it? And it'll never stop. It's just, so got to go inside.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, before we hopped on live, Kasey was going over a little bit on what day you're on in the juice fast and kind of, or the juice feast, I guess is a better term for it. And what you're feeling as far as how you're going through. So you want to give a little bit insight into that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get a lot of comments. You're not fasting. It's not a fast. It's like, okay, back off. I'm just drinking juice here. Yeah, it's definitely not a fast. I mean, you're drinking calories. There's nothing fasting about it. You don't go deep into the, like, fasting, you get all into autophagy and you're eating old cells, and like that's fantastic, but this is very beneficial. Like it's, in my opinion, more so than water fasting for a lot of people. Like it just, we have to flush this canal, and I'm still flushing things. It's weird. Day 38 of a juice fast, and I get a lot of comments saying, for when you go for a colonoscopy, you drink this like nasty Pedialyte solution. It's like salt water and it's supposed to flush the bowels. And I like, you couldn't possibly have anything longer than 2 days in there. I've done the flush. Like, I think I'd like to hear Tony's opinion on this, but I'm flushing things that are old. Like it's clear. Fruit doesn't turn into that. What I'm seeing come out of me and what I'm smelling, like it's, I've been on fruitarian style diets, and in the beginning, you eat a papaya, it comes out smelling like a papaya. Like I thought I was pretty clean until you start digging deep. I did a 5-day orange juice fast, and then like the sulfur started coming out. I'm like, oh, okay, there's levels to this. Like the fruit and vegetable, that's one, you're sweeping like physical matter out, cool. But then the juices, they just rehydrate this old stuff in the deep crevices. And it's just, there's old stuff hidden in there. I'd love to swallow one of those camera pills because I've seen them. I want to get one. But don't you think, Toni, like there's old stuff in people's digestive tracts?
Oh, absolutely, a lot. And the darker that comes out, it's the better it is. Then, and the more it smells, that you have old waste coming out. I mean, isn't that absolutely great? And yes, you mentioned a lot of people get tired when they are on fruit fast, but your GI tract is it's working. Your whole body is working hard to eliminate all that stuff. So you will have your days of being really tired, and you need to give it a rest, not fight it, just give into it.
Yeah, I've noticed that fatigue just hit, and I've had some pains, and it's like, yeah, the body seems to just like, all right, I'm devoting a good 80% of our resources to cleaning something up here. You cool? Just lay on the couch for a bit and I got this. And like it's gathering old stuff. And then it's like, okay, it's time to release. And then boom, you just feel so much better after. And then it comes, it goes and gathers more later on. Like it's just continuous. I can't believe what's inside still. Like I was pretty, that carnivore diet, I think that really sludged me up good because this wasn't happening on my 13-day juice fast, coming from like a mostly raw vegan, raw till 4 type of diet. But you go on these meats and that's the sticky stuff. It just coats the whole thing. And the carnies, you think it's fully digested. I heard that they think, oh, you just fully absorb. That's why I'm not pooing it every 3 days. That's fine. It's normal. It's so fully absorbed. It's like, no, it's just slowly building up. Just go for it now. Get it out now. The longer you stay on that diet, the deeper the sludge. It's not good.
Yeah, and people will even comment. I haven't had these experiences on my juice feasts, but people will comment that they even have trauma or old memories come up whenever they have these releases from like years and years ago. And so it's like we actually trap those memories of what we were consuming, or if we were, because when we experience trauma or when we're stressed, our digestive system doesn't work as well. So this could introduce a pocket of some undigested gunk that just sticks in our system. And then that layer is tied to those memories, and until we actually release it, it's still in there to some degree or another. And when it does activate with the juice, it brings up those memories and brings up those traumas, and then you can pass them and release it and let it go. So it's powerfully healing on all levels, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I haven't had too many emotional releases yet, but I bet they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just worth it to just get it all out. And it's so it's one of those things where I haven't done a longer juice feast. I did a 21 or 24-day one back in December, and then I just did a 30-ish, 35-ish. Um, so I'd be curious to see if I did a longer one, if I still kept going with it. But yeah, I mean, props to you for making that commitment. And you said 90 days for sure, but you might go longer than that if it's still necessary. So you're
Yeah,
going the distance.
apparently the rule is like go till the stuff stops coming out. So it could take 90 days, but I feel like I have an intuition that I'm gonna have to do a second juice fast to really get it. That came to me a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, I don't think for some reason like I'm gonna have to do this 90 days and then go back to a raw vegan type of thing, build back up a bit, and then hit it again. But yeah, that's the plan. Go 90. I've heard like people doing 150. Those Facebook groups you sent me, the Garden of Eden juice
Mhm.
fasting group or something, like one guy's on there 150 days. He's still going, still getting stuff out. Like it's not the fruit fiber, it's something old, guaranteed. I don't know what it is. It's different. It ain't right.
Wow.
Well, if you consider that you have about 10 to 15 pounds of waste in your GI tract, that's a lot that needs to come out. And that's all old waste. And you can actually easily do many months of juice feasting. And you can even incorporate like a day or 3 days of just water and see if that speeds it up. And if you want to stop, you mentioned going to raw vegan, but raw vegan, it can still you can still have like nuts on it. And if you come from an all juice, fruit juices, I wouldn't do that. No proteins. Try to stick with eating fruits instead. I mean, we get into the fruit season, so we have a big variety of all kinds of fruits.
Is there, Toni, is there any, I mean, would there be any reason why someone couldn't sustain for forever on juice? I mean, is there any limitation on that?
Well, I don't know if it should just be juice, because, you know, in nature, it would be just eating the fruits and eating the outside, you know, just eating it all and not just juicing it, because you don't get any fibers. And at some point, once you healed, you need the fibers. And once you really healed your body of everything, and that is something that can take years. But, you know, what does it matter as long as you get better? You can incorporate some, you know, the avocado, the veggie fruits, and some nuts, but not the way that we used to do it. You know, we didn't eat nuts by the handful. I think it's by the 2, 3, 4 handfuls at the time, and that's just not working for the body, not for your liver, not for anything actually. And the most important thing is, like, keep your kidneys filtering and keep the lymph moving. And there are exercises for it. There is like dry brushing to get your lymph moving, but only once your kidneys are filtering adequately, so you get the waste out. And you feel when you're not in acidosis anymore. You know, all your pains go away. Your mind is clearer. You feel better. You feel depression goes away. So it's quite amazing what fruit can do. But to answer your question, if you should just do fruit juices, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't.
Yeah, so the juice feasting is very purposeful as far as the initial detox, and you know, you can go back on it every now and again to give a good flush, but overall it should be more therapeutic and healing, not a long-term strategy. Cool. Thanks for that. Hey, Marie.
Yeah, when it comes to, oh, hey, Marie, come on
Hi,
in.
Marie.
Hi guys, I'm so grateful to be able to hop on. Please forgive my tardiness. I love Toni. I love hearing your voice. It's so comforting. Toni's been supporting me in detox, and I'm just, yeah, really grateful to be a part of this conversation. It's an important one.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, with the high fat that Toni's talking about, I totally agree. I've done like the meal of 7 avocados, and it's just done. Your energy. Like, I did the high fat vegan thing for 6 months, 1 meal a day, just a big salad. I was doing it Lou Corona style because, I mean, he's doing it somehow. It's all these nut yogurts, but my digestion just could never cope. Like, I'm taking magnesium to flush things out, and like, I had good energy. I was building strength. My skin was clear. My thoughts were clear. I was like, this is kind of working, except for all the digestive pains I'm getting from these nuts. And no matter how you do it, like, I'm soaking them overnight, blending them with probiotics, letting it sit there for 4 hours for them to eat up all the proteins. And it's like, even then, in its liquefied state, too much fat. And I never wanted to believe it. Like, common sense, like, you take some walnuts and it's like, you have to crack a lot. That takes a long time to crack enough walnuts to eat. And you're not going to do that every day. So I was like, nah, it's fine. We're humans now. We have all these nuts and they've cracked it. It's fine. But no, too much fat is too much fat, no matter what. It's hard.
Yeah, but it's not only the fats, it's also the proteins. And the body needs to convert it to amino acids. So actually, the body doesn't even know what to do with proteins. And that's why you feel tired after a meal with eating proteins. People don't realize it, but it always happens. You do not have real energy after you ate a meal with proteins and fats. Not the way you do when you have a fruit or a salad. But your body, the fruit, now I have to say it differently, the fruit has all the amino acids that we need. So all the people that come with, oh, but you need proteins and you need the fat for your brains. And it's like, no, you need the fruit for your brains. And but the diet that is high with proteins and fats, it just suppresses symptoms so that people think, oh, I'm feeling good. But in the meantime, they're getting sicker and sicker. And for all these people that do these weird diets and are very famous now and everybody wants to follow them, look at them in 5 years and see how sick they are.
Yeah, there was I know there's the whole gallstone flush diet weird thing that's going on now where people are drinking just excessive amounts of olive oil, and it's causing like little balls of things to come out, you know, in their waist. But those little balls, they think that this is flushing like your gallbladder or something. I don't really know what the thought is behind it, but it's really just the undigested concentrated fats and things that are coming out. So, you know, be wary of, as Toni mentioned, like there are just so many diet fads out there, and they're all very strange. And Kasey's tried most of them, so.
Yeah, that's the one. I have done one liver flush. Like it just, that's what I think too. It's just the olive oil coagulated somehow. Like it's so much oil. It just, something happens. And it, like, I think the gallbladder ducts are like so tiny. And then people are releasing these giant stones that would never come out of there. Like it's just, it's clearly like that. And same with the psyllium husk. It's different though, in my opinion. I've seen it. I don't want to get into too much detail, but the psyllium husk clay mixture it's not mucoid plaque. It's very different. I've seen the differences. The clay is very smooth and nice looking plaque, and then it brings out something bad after.
So you feel that the clay and husk mixture doesn't really do much other than just show up as clay and husk? I haven't had much success with it myself, so I'm curious your experience.
I don't like it, but I feel like it got something out. Like I didn't want to get into too much detail, but you're bringing out too much detail now. We're going there.
Let's go there.
Yeah, so I did this psyllium husk and clay mixture, 1 teaspoon of each in a cup of water, and then on my juice fast. And it's very clear that the clay comes out different. It's just like this smooth thing. But I had this one movement where it was like, it was that followed by a bunch of harder rubbery things. So I think it dislodged the clay or the plaque. Like I'm having bits of the mucoid plaque come out. So I do believe it does something. But it just, I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. It kind of slows things down for me a lot, the clay especially. And I really want to try Dr. Morse's GI broom. I can't find it anywhere in stock, either on his site or in Canada, anywhere. But that thing, because it has laxative herbs with it, and that'll just flush right out there. But yeah, I believe mucoid plaque is real because I've seen it in other people's videos, and it's not the clay. I've seen what clay looks like.
Well, the GI broom does not really have laxative stuff in it, and if you do it as they say that you do, you don't even notice that it's working, but it is working. The thing with the GI broom is it does have the psyllium husk powder, and that is a binder. And I don't think he puts the clay in anymore. And you can even put it together yourself because it has like slippery elm and marshmallow root and fenugreek and Irish moss. Yeah, it does have a little bentonite clay in it. Ginger root, aloe vera. What else is plantain leaf, white oak bark, bayberry root. That's pretty much everything that is in there. I actually have a recipe for it, so you can put it together yourself. It has been sold out. You can actually buy it through me. I even give a discount.
Sign me up.
Dr. Morse is nice enough to give his practitioners a discount, so I can share. But I would not use the clay and the psyllium husk separate. without all the other herbs, because especially the marshmallow root, they make it so easy, and the slippery elm, to get stuff out of your body. But you do need the binders in there. But when you take only the binders, like the clay and the psyllium husk, then you don't have all the other stuff. So it doesn't work that well. And if you don't mind me going back to the liver and gallbladder flush, I had gallstones, and that was absolutely the worst thing I ever experienced in my life. And I was very, very young. I was only 19 years old. And back then, and this is going back to the early 70s, back then, they actually had this oil flush, and I was so scared to take it, so I did not. And so eventually I had an emergency surgery because all these stones were in the ducts, and I would have died if they hadn't taken it all out, which they did in 56 little stones. But now, and even Dr. Morris has a liver and gallbladder flush, but he is also be very, very careful with it. It does has oil in it, but it also has lemons in it, grapefruit and lemon. So you actually mix like 8 ounces of olive oil with 8 ounces of grapefruit juice or the juice of 2 lemons. And there is a little protocol for how to do it, so it is safe, but you don't want to do it more than maybe once a year or something. So it's not something to let's do it and let's do it in a month again, because it make me feel better. So you have to be careful with that.
That's great to know. And as far as ordering those herbs from Dr. Morris, just contact you directly? Is that the best way to do that?
Yeah. Okay. It goes to me. I order directly to them, and they send it insured to the customer. So it works out. It works out really well, and you can save. You can save quite a bit.
Great. I appreciate that. So yeah, Toni's email is in the show notes. If anyone wants to get in contact with her, and along with all her other information, is there. So appreciate that. And yeah, we've had some questions in the chat about, and I think this is a great topic to bring up because there's differing opinions. We've got John Rose, who recommends taking the oils. What are the oils that he recommends taking on juice feasting?
Flax and hemp.
Yeah, flax for men and hemp for women. But I know there are differing opinions on that. And Kasey, you've mentioned that you don't really resonate with taking the oils. So Toni, do you have any experience with that? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just think about it, how natural it is for humans to ingest and then try to digest oils. It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. Why would you need the oils? What for? For the so-called omegas? Your body knows what to do with the fuel that is meant for us, the fruits and the veggie fruits. So we don't need to add any supplement. It's all, and besides that, oils are heavily processed. So no, yeah. For me, it's a big no.
Great. Yeah, keep it simple. And Kasey, I know that you've mentioned that, and that's the best thing for us to do is just to be our own experiment. If you hear something and want to try it, just really notice how you feel. And when we especially when we've have cleaned out our bodies with juicing, then we're a lot more sensitive to everything. So we can notice what certain things make us feel and how they how it comes across. So thanks for that, Toni.
Yeah, sometimes you get this advice, like I trust John Rose has his protocol and it works, but just oil, it doesn't seem to fit. And like I seem to break out more in acne when I have the oil. Like it's just so much fat for me, and I've always struggled to digest that. And it's for the omegas, he says, but like juicing cantaloupe, highest source of omega you can get, omega-3. I know watermelon has none, and that's what I'm on right now. But if you plan your fruits accordingly, and like all the greens, if you have a good green juice with spinach and all that, like you're getting plenty omega-3s, I think. Don't quote me on that. Don't you die on my watch with the lack of DHA, because I know it's like a problem some vegans long term, at least in the science world. I don't know how legit it is to be deficient in DHA long term. I don't know.
Did we worry about that hundreds of years ago? I mean, if it was all that bad, how come that we're all still here? I mean, this is a whole industry that started, what is it now, 70 to 100 years ago, and more has been added in we're forced to like, oh, you need this, and you're low on that, and it's like the more that something is pushed upon us, like you have to have it, otherwise you're gonna die, run the other way, because then you definitely don't need it. And this may be a very simple way of me warning against it, but all that stuff is isolated chemistry. It's not meant for us.
Yeah, I mean, just any of these, just touching on the supplement industry in general, and all of these sort of separate things, like our body can't digest anything that's inorganic, just plain and simple. So anything that is in its inorganic form, and it's a whole food form, it either just passes straight through the body and you're wasting your money, or it accumulates somewhere and causes problems somewhere else. So we really have to be looking at whole foods for anything that we need, and our body tells us what we need. When you eat whole foods, if something really resonates with you, you probably need more of that, and if it doesn't resonate with you, then you probably don't need it. And so that's the great thing about just getting clean and eating things and really sitting with it and saying, how does this make me feel? Then you can figure it out and go from there. I know Josh has taken periods where he'll go like a week and he'll just eat one type of fruit or one type of food and just see what it makes him feel like, just so he has a full on experiment and categorized on, like, when I eat this consistently, I feel like this. And so when we take that ownership and truly sit with what we consume, we can really empower ourselves. Just like Toni was saying at the beginning of the show, you have to step into your power and recognize who you are. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Well, there is something to it, with if it feels good when you eat it. I have to admit, when I eat something very savory and salty, it feels really good, but I know it's not good for me. And the reason it feels good, because your adrenals are weak and they want it. So it doesn't always work out that when you crave something or you want it, that it would be good for you. I thought that for the longest time, like, okay, my body wants it, so it must be good. No, that actually brought out the weak points in my body. So it was the opposite.
Yeah, so that's a good caveat. So appreciate you clarifying that.
If I can pop into Toni, I have a lot of people that I've spoken to, and as we move through this journey, that also speak that, well, if my body I need the protein, they'll say, like, I can't do this because I need the carbs, or it's always, to me, very interesting, because now that we've learned about parasites and we've learned about how far from nature we've gone, it's actually the part of us that's not natural, that's dying away, that's asking for those things. And so it really does become so spiritual, this journey, doesn't it, guys? Like, it becomes so much more than, my cravings or what I think I want, or what, my naturopath told me about the need for this supplement as I go through my cycle, or just all of the things that we're told. When we like let go of all of that and just come back to nature, it gets super, super simple. So it's like, if I go all day and just have orange juice, and then in the afternoon have a few mangoes, like, those are my best days. Those are really my best days. Having a mix between, mostly juice and then some fruits in the afternoon, that feels like what I can keep going with. Sometimes just like all juice for a long time, I will do it. I know at some point I will, but I think that what Toni, you said earlier too, really resonated with me, like just eating fruits, because juicing is, again, and a part of our industry and a part of our times. It's like, I know Aaron is in the chat and he just juices his oranges just like that. Like I'm still, peeling the oranges, putting them in the juicer. And that's even something I think as we evolve, we'll let go of the juice aspect of it, like the machine of the juicer, the Cuisinart, the dehydrator, all of the tools that we're also using. It's just really simple. And I'm excited about that aspect of this journey too, just being in community, being with the fruit, grabbing the orange, eating a banana, going on with the day. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Because just lastly, that I think that's an argument a lot of people use. Well, my body needs this. And it's like, no, your body doesn't. It might now because it's very adapted and it's adapted to its environment. And I just know too, like in high stress, like I want to go for those old foods that used to help calm the stress. But that's, again, a distraction from what we're up to. We're trying to learn how to manage emotions and things without shoving it down. Okay, now I'll stop. My cocoa.
I love the simplicity of fruit. Like it's the only food you can just go on for months and months. Like you can't do a walnut fast for months. Like it's not going to work for you. And like when I see like a lot of the vegan doctors, they're like Dr. Greger with his daily dozen, like you have to eat every day, try to get these 12 foods like berries, nuts, beans, like everything. And it's just so complicated. And I think it has to be simpler. Like the RDIs, in my opinion, the government is trying to advertise their crops. Like their recommended daily intake of each nutrient is like fully designed to be like, they got together and they're like, okay, we need to sell dairy, grains, wheat, corn, meat, some fruits and veggies. And okay, so they got their nutrient desires from that. Like the calcium intake over 1,000 milligrams, like that is so hard to hit if you're plant-based. The only way is like going into dairy and the protein and just everything. Like it's so simple. We can just be eating mostly fruits. I feel like, can we be fruitarian? Like, do we even need vegetables, Toni? Like, can we just go for it? Fully fruit?
We don't need the vegetables. They are on an average pretty hard to digest. And but here comes the big but. The fruit quality is pretty low. So unless you can grow your own fruits and have a higher quality than what you can buy in the stores, I would say, yeah, you can easily go with all fruits. I have done it for a few months at a time, and I actually loved it. I wasn't thinking about the next meal and what to create, and because I loved cooking, and even on a raw diet, I loved creating all kinds of meals. I have a ton of cook and uncook and raw recipe books, and I was going to write my own. And this is ridiculous. I mean, all that we need actually is fruit. We don't need a recipe for that. It's just find the best fruits and what you like to eat and eat it. And if you're in a cold season and you feel you need something hot, well, brew some tea, it's actually tea. Tea will be the hot meal or the hot drink of the day. Herbal tea, of course. And for the cold seasons, during the fruit season, freeze it or dehydrate it, whatever you need to do to have your fruits for the winter time, as long as you don't cook it. And actually, apples are a winter fruit. You have always apples. Oranges are being brought in from everywhere. But the quality is not what we like it to be. If I look at my oranges today, I wouldn't even want to eat them the way they are. Like, you can only juice them because they're not a pleasure to eat at all. So the fruit is not at its best. And what you mentioned about going on mono fruits, yeah, you can eat apples for I don't know how long, for forever if you need to. Your body knows what to do with what comes in your body. if that makes sense. It gets all the vitamins and minerals that it needs. And whenever I hear people saying, oh, I'm low on this and I'm low on that, and it's like, well, then maybe you didn't stick to all fruit. Maybe you squeezed in a little dressing on your salad, or a little nuts here and there, or a cooked meal now and then. Because I know we do that. I mean, I do it. But then I know the consequences, and then, your health is not optimal. So all these raw vegans who are complaining that you cannot, or the fruitarians, the ex-fruitarians, that you cannot live on a fruit diet, I bet that is what happens.
So you mentioned the quality of the fruit being a reason to still incorporate vegetables. Is this just to acquire certain, like
Yeah,
what would be an example to fit that?
An example would be the low iron, but I have to admit, I didn't even look up until a few weeks ago which fruits do have high iron, and I was totally amazed. And I was like, okay, that's another reason I don't need veggies. And I think the veggies, it's more for taste. And they're definitely not healing. I mean, fruits are healing, veggies are not even the soft leafy greens. And you cannot heal or detox on veggies. You need fruits for that. So that says enough.
I'm thinking of going, like, I'm having a green juice right now, just like thinking I need these extra minerals, but I'm thinking of, I do like the savory taste. I'm thinking of making a savory fruit juice though, cucumber, tomato, lemon. I bet it's good.
Yeah, and then add Italian herbs to it. These kitchen herbs, I think there are 12 different kitchen herbs in that, and that makes it totally delicious.
Yeah, I feel like I want to see the real RDIs, and it's just like not much, just whatever's in fruit. Bit of sugar is what we need, and some vitamin C, and that's the only nutrient that actually exists. It'd be funny to see that.
Well, I thought it was always funny when people thought about or talk about all kinds of vitamins, and it's like, have you ever seen a vitamin? If you ever really see how a vitamin looks, how does vitamin K2 looks, or the D3? I mean, vitamin D comes from the sun, and there is a little in mushrooms. So if you eat mushrooms, then, for in the wintertime, you get some vitamin D. But I always wonder, has anybody ever seen a vitamin?
Yeah, we're very trusting, aren't we? Just the scientists, they know. I'm sure that exists. And then they sell us these supplements, and big pharma's running these vitamin companies anyway. They're, you just don't know what's true. I can't wait for just full disclosure on everything. I'm going to laugh so hard that just we've been tricked.
About everything. It's all been a lie. Yeah, we've got a good question in the chat about what to do with kids and sort of shifting towards the frugivore diet. And it was addressed to you, Marie, since you've got your kids. So I wonder if we could touch on how to get kids more acclimated to this way of being, and just any thoughts in that area.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts in this area. I have a lot of interesting moments too. I mean, one of them being last night, the kids were out at the beach, and so they came home late after sunset, and Danny had picked up a big cooked veggie soup for them. And so my daughter is 7, and she sat down, and Eugene had cut up a big watermelon. So in front of her, she had a bowl of vegetable soup and a big bowl of watermelon. Guess what she ate? She ate the watermelon. So I have found that the kids literally, like if my 4-year-old, he'll be 5 in a few weeks, we just juice him. All he really wants, like a perfect day for him, is he probably has a liter of orange juice a day, maybe a little bit more throughout the day. He'll have a big glass in the morning. Mid-morning, he has another big glass of orange juice. He might start munching on bananas in the afternoon. He'll eat like 4 bananas, these like little bananas. And then at night, he's still sometimes having like a little bit of rice, a big bowl of cucumbers. He's not into tomatoes. So, but I think rice and a little bit of pasta is still coming out of his diet. But for the most part, I found just as long as I keep giving them choices around like fruit, always abundant. Like one night I just cut up like, I don't know, 15 mangoes. And so it was just like a free for all. And they just ate a bunch of mangoes for dinner. We do a lot of nice creams, those like frozen bananas with strawberries, and then putting orange juice in there. So it's, delicious and citrusy, and its consistency is like an ice cream. So it's like ice cream for dinner. They love it. What was the other thing that we made recently? Oh, I made an ice cream with bananas, and I put a little bit of vanilla and coconut meat in there. And it was amazing. It tasted like cookie dough, like a cookie dough ice cream. And that was also, they were really into that. So I guess with the children, what we just started to observe was that they preferred the fruit anyway. And we were the ones trying to tell them that they needed food, food stuff. And so now that we are on board and we get it, we're just kind of weaning, and we're weaning off it. They are too. And I think the tricky part is the social aspect of it, and being with their friends and being out and wanting to have, the things, but we just are consistent. Like my son the other day, he wanted French fries. We were at the beach, so he had French fries. We were walking away, back to the car, and he was like, "Oh, my tummy." He knew. And I was like, it was the French fries, just so you know, sweetie, that was because the French fries has lots, and teaching him, it has lots of oils in it, and your tummy doesn't like that. And he was like, no, it wasn't. He's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't mean to tell my mom, but they get it. And I think that that's a really important part as a parent, to trust nature, to trust our creator, to trust the mother. She knows what we need to eat. And that's been my work, is knowing that they're growing perfectly. I've noticed their bodies changing a lot. They've had their own detox symptoms as well. They're both leaner, but they're growing incredibly. Their energy is super, super high, and they're really, really kind. I want to just say that, there was just last thing with animals, the vegan aspect of this and eating animals, like kids feel this, like they get it, and there was a situation where, one of my child's peers was saying, well, it's fine to eat animals. It's good for you. And my daughter was like, no, it's not. It's a dead animal, and she just like went at this kid, and it caused this whole uproar within the parents, group, because this is the issue that we're dealing with and we're teaching our children, and so my son goes, we don't eat animals. He was like, no, like really energetic about it. We don't do that. That's terrible. And I want to encourage them to have that level of passion about this and not to dumb that down, because we need to accept other people's opinions. Yes, other people can, do what they need to do. I believe in free choice, but that doesn't change the fact here that those are dead animals, and they're acidic. And not only are they dead, they're acidic, and they're harmful to you, is something that we absolutely should be teaching the kids. And I shied away for a while because I felt like it was heavy and that they would be different and they wouldn't be able to fit in. But now I can see how brilliant God's plan is for us. And we needn't be afraid of this. Like the kids get it. They're growing, they're kind. We need to really embrace this as parents, because it is, they're the future. And I'm healing from breast cancer because I didn't know about this until I was 40. Like, that's something to consider. Now they know at 4 and 7. And I would venture to say my son has always known, because he was always against food. That was something we introduced to him. And he grew up in a tropical place, so that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, he just wanted juice and bananas. That's his groove. So I trust that that's helpful, but that's where we're at with this.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you. And I know dealing with my siblings, it's hard because my parents are still feeding them all sorts of whatever. But I always told them whenever I'm watching them that my rule is you can eat as much fruit as you want at any time of the day that you want. It's fair game. The fruit is there, have at it. Have it for your whole meal. Have it as a snack whenever. And if we just provide that option to kids and see that they naturally do gravitate towards it, it does kind of help acclimate to that. So yeah, well said.
Yeah. And they even get, fruits before. So like if they're going to eat anything, then it's like, well, let's start with fruit. And if you still want to eat that, we can, just so that we're not dealing with fermentation after, like eating a big meal, because that's how I grew up. It was like fruit. We were always abundant in fruit, but it was like after you ate a big meal. And that's actually part of the problem why everybody gets all bent out of shape about fruit, because they're mixing it with all sorts of things. If you're just having fruit, you see the benefits of it immediately. Now, if you have a fruit plate and then an omelet after that, you're going to have a situation. Or if you eat like, a big sandwich and then munch on fruit after, or have a big juice after, that's going to cause a little bit of discomfort in the digestion for sure. So it's fruit first, whereas keto was teaching us fat first. Okay. Like that's the craziness of these days. Fat first. I did that for a year. Coconut oil, like, oh my God, in the tea. So this is why it's so important. And these types of conversations can be really healing for so many people, particularly the children. And also Dr. Morse talks about this a lot, that the kids are coming in really compromise their systems. Like each generation is getting more and more sick. You got kids that are young dealing with cancer. I was 36 when I was diagnosed with cancer. So there's stuff here that we really want to start looking at as it relates to the very simple, what Dr. Morse and Toni teach so beautifully, just around acid and alkaline. That is the simplest thing. And kids really do get it. They get it. They get it. They're smarter than us in so many ways.
Yeah, so many people go wrong with fruit for dessert. That's what they think. Oh, I want this sweet dessert, but you can't do that. I remember when I was a kid and me and my mom made this. It was just orange juice and bananas. I think that's a bad combo, the acid fruit and sweet fruit, but it was so good. And I was like, why aren't we making this more often? Like, what is all this food? Why do we have cans of beefaroni in the cupboard? Like, what is that? This is amazing. It's just so good. It really is. And healing. I'm kind of jealous of your Mexican markets. I was watching this guy, Vivo Collective, on YouTube. He's done a bunch of juice fasting and he's eating mostly raw fruits, and he's in Mexico right now and he's walking through the markets, and I'm just like, wow, the abundance of watermelons and papayas and mangoes. And it hurts when you're in Canada sometimes, and it's like, we get some okay fruit. This was not the greatest watermelon I've ever had, but when you juice it, it's all right. But like a mamey sapote, I've never had one of those. What is that like?
They're like chocolatey. We can make them with an ice cream too, if you want to have chocolate ice cream, or like a pudding. They're fantastic. But I was saying this the other day, that we, our necessities, we drove back from the mountain. On the side of the road is like a hut, and here's what they're selling. Ready? Huge table of mangoes, a huge table of watermelons, because that's what we have right now in season. Cocos frios, cold coconuts. And there's a Cocos Frios, like a handwritten sign for it. And then next to it is like the marketed Coca-Cola sign, like upside down. And I was like, this is such a dichotomy of like, the world imposing itself into the natural order. Here, have a Coca-Cola. Here's our marketed sign. It's copyrighted and it's really attractive. It's bright red, or here's this handwritten, have a cold cocoa. Everybody gets the cold cocos. Obviously in Mexico, we have a lot of addiction to Coke and beer and things like that here as well. But just the fact that on the side of the road is a hut selling those things rather than a McDonald's is what I think all of us are learning how to turn towards, and what we want. Like, don't you want that just down the street from your house? Just you can run over there and grab a cold coconut. And wouldn't that make your journeying so much easier? So you guys that are doing this type of work in these places, I bow in gratitude for you. You are incredibly brave, incredibly courageous, so dedicated. It's fantastic. It really, really is. But I just want you to know that these places do exist. And it's just about how willing are we to change our lifestyles and to let go. This is the question we're all asking ourselves as we continue to go through these just crazy times. What's important? And is important. Your health is important. And they've told you that don't worry about it. We got you. We got your supplements. We got your stuff. Just eat this. We got your restaurants. Don't worry about it. Just keep working so you can pay $100 for your dinner of food that's going to kill you. It's like, but people are waking up.
Yeah, I can't wait till it's just much more accessible for everybody. Fruit stands, like in Thailand, that's the thing that shocked me when I went there. Like every block, there's fruit everywhere, cut up fruit, pineapples on a stick, smoothies. It's like it was just, you could never not be raw vegan there. It was so easy. You have no excuse. It's just like offered to you at every corner. Whereas in Canada, you got to fight for it. You got to fight. It's just restaurants everywhere. Imagine if we replaced every restaurant with a fruit tree or a couple. It's like, it should be so abundant. That'd be so nice.
Hey, I have some good news for you guys. You can actually combine bananas with orange as long as the orange is ripe. So that delicious drink you were talking about, have it.
Alrighty. It's so good. It really is.
Well, even orange is ripe, it falls in the category of sub-acid fruits. If it's unripe, like the grapefruits, the kiwi, lemon, or actually the acid fruits, are the grapefruits, kiwi, lemon, limes, strawberry is actually an acid fruit, pineapple, pomegranate, and unripe oranges. So you do not combine them with sweet fruits like bananas or dry fruit, date, figs, persimmons. And then you have the sub-acid fruits. You can pretty much combine those with acid and with sweet fruits, only not sweet fruits with acid fruits. So it's a little complicated. And you do not combine watermelons with anything, or actually any melon. So cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon, papaya, you do not combine them with other fruits.
Yeah, I know she's had a great chart that she's shared a few times on that, just kind of keeping a reminder on what fruits to not combine with each other. Can you kind of go over what the reasoning behind why you don't combine those sort of things?
It's I honestly don't know why not the acid with the sweet fruits. I only know that you don't have certain combinations with greens or veggies because of the difference in fermentation. So I think it is a fermentation thing. And I have not investigated why exactly we should not combine sweet fruits with acid fruits. So that's something that I will have to do.
In my
Yeah, it'd be
opinion,
interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
it would be, I think it's more to do with the water. Like you would never combine super high water oranges with like dried dates. Like it's just, maybe that's where it came from. Like, because there's sugar in all of it. That's what never made sense to me. Like oranges have sugar in them, but don't combine them with this sugar. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but when you look at density, then it would. And nobody's making tomato date smoothies. I want one, but that would be weird.
You can make some pretty good sauces with tomatoes and dates.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
like if you want like that tomato sauce, if you add some herbs and a few dates and tomatoes and blend it up, it makes a pretty delicious sauce. And if you want the fats in there too, you throw half an avocado in there and get that creaminess. That might have some combinations in there that are a no-no, but
I wonder what that would be like a lot of dates with some tomatoes. So you're getting this very sweet tomatoey. It doesn't sound right, but I might try it.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you think of like tomato soup, and it is pretty sweet. Like if you're just buying like a can of Campbell's tomato soup, it's pretty sweet. So if you're looking for that same sort of flavor, that would be a much healthier way to go about that for sure.
And all that food is like, I know people have cravings, but you have to understand you're up against a team of scientists who have discovered the optimal crunch factor. Like they go through the tests and like each cracker is like, okay, no, that crunch is too fast. You got to have it slightly thinner and then just a sprinkling of salt. No, we have to flake the salt so it's an even layer and triple layer it. And like, you can't resist it. You can't, but honestly, I don't have any cravings on this juice fast for some reason. Like I'm not dying to eat anything. I'm not even planning on breaking at any time. Like I'm looking forward to some mangoes eventually. Eating mangoes followed by tomatoes. I love that meal so much. It's just some sweet mangoes, then you get the savory tomato after. It's like, wow. I think as we clean out, we don't crave these super freak foods like the salty stuff. I have no desire for it at all. So you can get there. You can get there. But I know a lot of people struggle with the cravings.
I just want to chime in. I think that when we struggle with cravings, I know for myself, it's like we're looking for joy in food. We're looking for comfort in food. So it's like, where else can I find the joy? Where else can I find the comfort? And if we spent as much time and energy and money on trying to perfect a cracker, on how to, God, diminish poverty, stop slavery, like to do like the right thing, if we spent that much attention, that's the stuff that just gets me going on how they've got us all addicted to the perfect crunch. And this is why we do this work, because the joy isn't in the perfect crunch. The joy is in all beings everywhere being happy and free and connected to their creator. That's where the joy and the comfort and the blessing and the abundance and all of the things that we want. Community. People say, well, what about a big meal and sitting around the table? And I come from a restaurant family, so I feel that. I miss, that like, let's have a Christmas meal. Well, what was on the Christmas table? If I look at it with my eyes open, a lot of not so nice things. A lot of killing had to happen for this meal to happen. So is there joy in that? And who is that feeding? Is that feeding my spirit, or is that feeding my ego? And that's what we start to detach from in a really big way. I think these are the things that we're looking at, as mankind, those of us that are growing out of the old system. We're looking at, well, why am I craving these foods? And am I willing to go up against that? And where else can I find my joy? Like yesterday I had this pain moment, and it was like, I even knew, I was like, I don't even want to eat anything. It's not that that's going to make it go away. So I went and I sat myself in nature. And I went and talked to the mother. I had a problem. I gave it to her and she showed me the answer. That's how it works. But we're trained in food. Oh, you're upset. Eat something. That's the family I came from. Oh, just eat something. Let's distract. My son got bit by a bee the other day, and this beautiful Mexican, abuela came up and gave him a sucker, like one of those blow pops. I was like, oh, no. But they took 2 licks of it and they put it down. They're like, this is gross. They know. Nice.
Yeah, it's a process, and we've all got our own things to navigate and deal with. But just speaking on the communal aspect of eating, why do we have to be eating to have that communal gathering? Why can't we have an intentional sit around the table and just talk and just commune? Or it doesn't even have to be around a table. Why can't we sit around a campfire, and have that same sort of community? It doesn't have to be revolved around eating. And it seems like most everything within organized society is just trying to keep us down into our lower base, our roots, into these sort of carnal desires. And it's pushing sex, and it's pushing, but the wrong form of sex, and it's pushing the food cravings and all these other sorts of things, which just keep us lower into our physical. And our job is to get past the physical and to heal our bodies so that we're in a good state, to a foundation to leap off of, but then eventually to let go of those physical temptations and desires and say, hey, I want to do some more. Like the physical world was fun to play with for a bit, but I want to go higher. I want to see what it's like to keep going. But that's a choice we all have to make.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I want to go around this trip again. Maybe, I don't know if there's a couple more in me, but like if things were better in the next world. But yeah, it's a tough one, Earth. It's a strange school that we come to and subject ourselves to all this stuff. Like some people just go through some crazy stuff here. We all have, and we've all been through the pain, and we all think, oh, my illness is the worst ever, but we've all been through something terrible, and we're overcoming it. I don't know what it is, cleansing out karma or something, but I look forward to getting through that flat earth dome. That's a flat earth map, by the way.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it.
It's a really old map from like the 1500s. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And it has like the middle magnetic mountain and the 4 continents surrounding it. It's so weird when you see like the map the way it should be, and then the way Google has it is like everything up north, the North Pole is deleted. It's like they clearly just took it out, airbrushed it out, like there's nothing there. Whereas it's probably the Garden of Eden over there. They're hiding it. That's why people are like, oh, flat earth, what does it matter? What if they're hiding the best fruits we've never heard of, grown near a magnetic mountain, like something just purple, and like, wow, what is that? Could be so much undiscovered land and stuff. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean, the big topic, but that's kind of the thought of where those who are choosing that left-hand path and choosing to stay rooted in that physical and going the sort of artificial route of ascension, it's all going to be based on AI and like technology based things and whatever else, but they will probably gravitate towards those outer rings and what's beyond, because the center pole is where all life emerges. And so this plane and where we are as what we call Earth is where life is most abundant. And then it just keeps going infinitely, and life gets less and less and less the further you go. So those who are taking that, because they'll be running from, I mean, they already are running from us eventually, but they'll have the opportunity to just go live out in your AI slave world where you can be domineering and bombard people with that kind of mentality, where we'll get to stay here and create that abundant, utopia, that heaven on earth.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I really want to know what the whole truth is. How much land is there? Is there stuff beyond the dome? What's beyond the dome? Has anybody seen, I think Eric Dubé just released his documentary Level. It's like an hour long. It's a pretty good sum up of it. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, it was a good sort of baseline knowledge on it, as far as introducing someone to the topic and giving them a taste of it. But he's got so many videos on his channel that are just, I love going, like if I don't have anything else to watch, I'll just go to Eric Dubé's channel and just watch some brilliant interview or video that he's done, because he knows his stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they suppressed, like they deleted his channel a long time ago and he built it right back up, and it's like, I'm not stopping. I just feel like, I don't know, like I feel like my channel gets suppressed with this information. Like you may look and see, oh, he has over 150,000 subs, but I'm getting the same amount of views as I got when I had 19,000 subs right now, last month. And in my opinion, like the videos are better. I'm offering better information, but YouTube doesn't want to put it out there. Like I just noticed, I think it was last year, I started searching for health information, and then it was all doctors and hospitals coming up on the first page. Like that's all that would show up. I'm like, why is it only like they're only promoting the doctor's version of this? Try it for yourself. You'll see it's like Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and it's like they changed the algorithm, so they're hiding some stuff, and it's not right.
It's not right. I'm so annoyed with the people that just keep like, oh, it's just the way it is. Okay.
No, they changed something big time just in the way you find information. Just looking up juice cleanse, you'll probably find a couple people that it didn't work for, and like just failure stories and debunkings, and like, oh, you need fiber. And yeah, it's just a weird algorithm right now.
Yeah. So getting back to health, do y'all have any other burning questions on your mind? We can certainly open up more to the chat for questions as well, if y'all have any topics to dive into.
I do have a question to everybody here about skincare, because I'm just wondering, like on this juice fast, my skin is clearing, but every morning I wake up pretty much and it just feels like my pores are clogged and like I have to scrub it off. And like I do this baking soda scrub and I'm spraying my face with apple cider vinegar and then it's foaming up. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like my skin's great for a couple days and then it starts getting clogged up again. And it goes back to like the kidneys, they're not filtering. Like I know if I eat rice and beans right now, I'll get some filtered sediment. But when I'm on the fruit juices, I don't see any sediment whatsoever. So maybe Toni can speak to that. And then just wondering, like, do we need to do anything to our skin? Do you guys just, is it just water? Is it no water at all? Or yeah, I'm just curious.
Whenever your skin is not in an optimal condition, it means that your kidneys are not filtering out the waste. So it comes out through your skin. So that's where you get pimples and acne and eczema, psoriasis. I would never, ever use baking soda that much on my skin, and definitely not apple cider vinegar, because it dries it out. That is harsh on your skin. I mean, I can see where you soak your feet in it, but putting it on your face, no. I throughout my life, and since I was a teenager, I used all kinds of lotions that were on the market, expensive stuff. And then within 3 months, I became allergic for it. And then I had to get another one and another one and another one. And at some point, I just gave up. I didn't put anything on it. And when I am on an all fruit, I don't need it. And when the kidneys are filtering, you'll see that your skin will clear up. Because then, your kidney is your skin is your third kidney. So the lymph is the waste in your body that needs to come out. So the whole goal is to get healthy, you have to have your kidneys filtering adequately. And if it's not doing that on all fruits or even on all fruit juices, then you take the next step and you do a few water fast days. And if that doesn't work, you prolong your dry fasting, which you do anyway at night. And say that you stop eating and drinking at 6 o'clock on a day. And you don't eat or drink anything until the next day, 10, 12 o'clock around noon, then you have a pretty long dry fast. And you try to make it as long as you can to see if your kidneys will open up. And that usually helps. But I would not go past 36 hours total. And my max was, and actually it was when I was sick because I ate something that was not good anymore. So I got food poisoning, and my only solution was to stop eating and drinking everything, so the body could focus on healing and just rest. So I actually had a forced dry fast. It only lasted for 24 hours though. And then I started with just 2 days of only water to heal. So that is your goal, because if you say that you will do like a 30-day and then maybe raw vegan again, and then again on a juice fast, it will only heal your body when your kidneys are filtering. So that's the number one thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'll try to focus. I might do something like I've done a couple dry fasts. They were tough, a 64-hour one, but I won't push past it. But every morning, like even on these juices, I wake up and I'm thirsty. I want some water almost immediately. You'd think I'd be so hydrated on all the juices, but I think I still have a lot of waste.
Okay, here's another little tidbit. Are you still drinking water or not?
Yeah, not much. Like I wake up, I have maybe 2 cups, maybe 3 max, and sometimes like just a sip before bed, but it's all juices.
Okay, what you start your morning with is I always make like a liter of lemon water, 2 lemons, and 2 lemons. What did I say? Yeah, 2 lemons and some warm water. I use distilled water. And make that the first thing that you drink. You don't need to drink the whole liter. You can drink it throughout the day, but drink at least 8 ounces of it. And then start your next fruit. So not just plain water. Because you could be very well dehydrated, and that's not helping your kidneys. And another thing that I came aware of, it is so easy because these fruit juices are so delicious to drink too much at a time. And so you may want to try how your body responds when you drink like 8 to 10 ounce every hour, or drink 8 to 10 ounce every hour, and see if that changes anything. So you don't, it's not so hard on the kidneys. If you drink a lot, it's tough on the kidneys.
Yeah, that's good to know. So just so to start the day with lemon water, with consider 2 lemons in a liter of water, and then you still drink that water throughout the day. Because I have since I have been mostly fruit. I mean, since doing this last juice fast, I haven't drank really any water. Sometimes I'll, like, if I and I'm like, my pee is pretty clear, so I know I'm very well hydrated. My lips are very hydrated. But one thing I'll notice, well, the only water I ever do drink is sometimes if I drink too much lemon juice, I get a lot of acid in my stomach. So I'll drink a little bit of water with sodium bicarbonate just to kind of like slow that down. But that's really the only source of water I drink. So I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is your GI tract likes a little water to make the move a little easier. So that's actually what is a big part of hydration in your body.
But if I'm feeling that hydration anyway without drinking the water, is that? I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt to drink a little water in the
It
morning.
depends
just
on.
to
There's
see what
always more
happens.
to it. You can see, feel easily if your bowel movements are very easy. If you have at least 3 to 4 bowel movements a day, you're pretty good to go if it comes easy. If you only have 0 or 1 or 2, then it's like, well, you may need a little help.
Yeah, hydration has been one of the toughest things for me to nail, even on this juice fast. I've had days where my lips are still cracking. They're much better now, but I've noticed a lot of people on juice fast have that problem. Like on my water fast, especially, it was terrible. I was having really cracked lips and I was so thirsty. And I was like, the less I drink, the more hydrated I feel. Like I feel like we're just flushing electrolytes, whereas on the juice, I'm much more hydrated, but I still have that because I'm trying to intermittent fast a bit too and not drink fruit juice right away.
Yeah, they say that with eating or juicing fruit, the weakness in your body come out more. So that's why you'll have problems until that is healed. But it should never last more than maybe, from 3 to 14 days.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.
Yeah, and then going back to your question on skincare. So I've never really been one to do much for my skin. I mean, I used to use, I guess, soap wise, I went from not caring what soap I used, and I went to the Castile for a few years, and then now I don't use soap at all. So I take showers maybe like once every couple of weeks, like I don't smell ever. Like even when I sweat, it's amazing. I just don't smell ever, which is just an incredible byproduct of this way of being. Um, but when I do bathe, I just use baking soda. I don't do any vinegar or anything like that. I just use baking soda, and I use that for my hair and my body, and I've found it works really well. For me, it seems to be pretty gentle. So that's what I do, and I notice pretty good results, and it's cheap and easy to find anywhere.
And do you not wash your face with water daily? Like just nothing?
No, no,
Hmm.
no. I mean, I wash it. Yeah, I'll wash it when I do shower, but otherwise it's, if it's dirty, like I'll wipe it off, but I don't use water
Mhm.
usually. Yeah. Because I feel
Interesting.
like skin, like Toni was saying, it's coming from the inside out. So cleaning the outside is not really going to do much other than give you a temporary relief from it, but it's not going to address the root cause of anything. Um, so it's always got to be addressed from the internal to get to whatever issue.
Mhm. How about you, Marie? What's your skincare routine?
Well, I feel like it's changing so much right now, just with all of the diet changes. And I have a friend here in town. She was on Miraculous Monday yesterday, and she's a facialist. So she gave me a facial a couple days ago, and it was like all natural products, like 100%. And what I was so fascinated by was like when she cleansed the skin, it was an oil. So it was like she used it. It's one of these fancy concoctions with essential oils, and I think the base was coconut oil, but it was just like she put the oil on, and everything that she put on was natural. Like there was like a pumpkin enzyme and all the stuff. But what I could say is that it felt like my skin was like drinking it in. It was like everything. And she had said that too about the products that she was using. And I have to look it up, and I'll let you know, because I don't know exactly what they're called, but there are those fancy expensive ones, but it was really a treat to have this experience, because everything that was put on the skin you could literally eat it. And I think that's the mentality that we want to have, because I've used all sorts of crazy skincare products. I've dealt with acne a lot in my life. So I feel really grateful that I'm getting to the other side of this, but I'll still have a breakout again. And that what we're talking about in terms of filtering and all of that is legit. But using oil to cleanse, and then the toner. So like it was an oil cleanse, and then the toner was a apple cider vinegar base. And then it was just like a light oil after. And I've probably, I used to wash my face in the morning and then at night. And now I'm just like maybe doing it at night, because there's a lot of dirt around here. There's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of sand. And so I do feel better having a cleanse. But the way I'm washing it now is just putting that little oil on and then wiping it off with a warm cloth. And that's a different thing than like splashing with a soap, like even a facial cleanse, because I think what's happening for so many of us is we're stripping the natural oils. And I've just noticed that, wow, within just a few days, my skin is so much happier. It was getting super dried out by using all those soaps. And the drier it was, the more that it would break out. So I hope that's helpful. And I can actually, before we complete, if you want, I can go grab and see what the name of that brand was. But she was like, even, if you don't have it, just use a little bit of oil and with some essential oils and wipe it off at night if you feel like you need something. And I like the Castile soaps. I'm still a soap girl. But I have noticed that, everything changes in terms of smell. It's so much more pleasant. Everything, everything. It's just all clean. Even my little ones, they just smell so delicious. And my partner and all that, just everything is so much better when we're fruity and juicy.
Yeah, it's really just that simple solution for everything, like, and it is so simple.
I think the other thing to think about too, Justin, is that like just the industries, like how everything is so concerted to make you sick. Like everything is designed to make you sick and unhealthy. So all of the products that people are using to get rid of, their skin problems are just so toxic. And not even to mention some of the stuff that's in them that's just criminal. On so many levels for some of those high end, and then the things that all sorts of people are putting in their skin, the Botox and all the things to make it look a certain way. When I have found that everything is getting better, my body's regenerating itself. And that's what we're learning how to do. And unfortunately, the detox symptoms are kind of unpleasant sometimes. What's happening though, Kasey, with your kidneys? How come they're not filtering? Do you know why?
That's what I want to know. I've been doing this for so long, and
Yeah.
I noticed like on a dry fast, I'm like, okay, there's some sediment now. And I'm not sure. Like even as a teenager, I had like the dark circles under my eyes. I remember going out to a bar with my friend and we met some girls and they're like, you have really dark. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know. And they're like, that's your kidneys. And these like 17-year-old girls, not that we were underage drinking with fake IDs. We would never do that. But like, yeah, I would guess I've had it for so long and I'm not sure. Like even as a child, I was so tired at times. I remember riding my bike with my friends and I could barely keep up. I'm like, why am I so tired? Like, aren't you guys tired? Like, this is hard pedaling this bike. I had a crappy bike. It could have been that, but yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe the Bill Gates serum, it's like, maybe that weakened me or something, but and I was dropped as a child once. My mom, like I had a babysitter and I was in a stroller at a mall and apparently I fell down like a mall steps. I don't know what happened, if I flew out of that stroller or what. So maybe I have some traumatic brain injuries or something, but something went haywire early on. I didn't feel right. And yeah, it's just been a uphill battle since then. And yeah, high school, it just started to get worse and worse as my diet was terrible. And yeah, even eating all this fruit and stuff, it just hasn't quite loosened up. I feel like one day we'll have a breakthrough and then, all right, we'll get the sediment out and then everything. But I have not been able to get them consistently filtering on fruit. Whereas I've noticed it on starch, but like Remembrancer was saying, that's probably just your starch meal, but like it's filtering through. I don't understand the whole kidney filtration thing. Sometimes I believe in it, but I don't know what the sediment, I don't know. There's other theories of what the sediment is, like minerals or something is different than what you think. But what do you think, Toni?
The sediment, if you are on a detox diet and you have sediments, it is lymph waste. And that is not very well known. I think that Dr. Morse was one of the pioneers of that he figured that out. And when you eat proteins, yes, you will have sediment. You can have sediment in too. But the thing is that I barely have any sediment. And I mean, I've been doing this for years. Now, I had kidney problems since I was young. And you obviously had the same problem. It just takes longer. I heard from people that it took 2 years. You know, some people, they filter after two weeks on fruit. My first time filtering was when I was on 2 weeks on all fruit juices. This time on all fruit juices, no filtering. So, you know, it is what it is. And I just keep doing what I need to do because I feel otherwise the improvements, as in not having any pain and being able to move around easier. Because I came out of a wheelchair. I mean, I was pretty much bedridden to a point that I thought I need to go into assisted living because I could barely take care of myself. That is a bad place to be. And in my mind, I'm a young person, and that's not how I wanted to live. So going on the all fruit had so many good things happening with my body that I really didn't worry too much on not my kidneys not filtering. I'm still struggling with psoriasis off and on. And the arthritis, because that was already very advanced, as in deforming joints. And that is, you know, they say it takes a month for every year you've been sick. So I have a few years to go to get really healthy. But I think it is a very interesting journey, and don't worry too much. I mean, if you feel good, then that is what is important. And you look good. I don't see any dark shadows under your eyes now.
Yeah, it feels, yeah, like I noticed it on the carnivore diet. I just made a comparison video where I look so puffy and like I'm seeing the dark circles and bags and people are like, oh, you look so healthy there. Like we seem to think that like the bigger we are, the more healthy we're just full and like, oh, that's a healthy person, because like our idea of ideal human health is just skewed. Like I see that face. I'm like, wow, did I really look like that? Like I've sucked right in, but I feel like it's a healthy, it was just puffy, like all the salt I was eating and greasy skin. And yeah, I think we underestimate how like sticky and hard this lymph tissue can get. Like my neck is kind of stiff, and I feel like that's bound to be lymphatic waste, but it's so sticky. Like you can't just rinse it off with water or a bit of juice. Like you got to really dig deep and maybe get some massage work and maybe even acupuncture work to open up meridians, and breath work to, like Remembrancer was saying, to get up into the head with your breath. It's like, this is like sticky stuff we're dealing with, and it's tough to get out of the body. So some people, it takes time, a lot of time.
Yeah, we like to have that one magic pill. We take it, we can eat whatever we want to eat. We take the magic pill and we're fine. And it, you have to do the work. Charlie always says it, you have to do the work. And I really agree with that. It takes work, but you can make it like it's all miserable, you can make it fun. I think it's fun. It's fun to see yourself getting better and sharing what you learned. It's great. I mean, I see that with you, and I see it with Marie, and beautiful smiles, and she looks great. So
Thank you, Toni. Yeah. Oh, Toni, you've been so massive for me. Like I'd like totally recommend it if anyone needs someone to hold their hand. Like Toni is a superstar and really got me through some tough moments, because it's a journey, and I'm healing something deep. I think all of us are, and thank you so much, Toni, for the acknowledgement. But I feel you, and I know that like a lot of times, like the lymph in here for me gets tight, Kasey. And my friend just gave me a rose quartz. Like a smooth rock. I like, God, I just did that and I felt it flush. And I put a little bit of oil on it. And now at night, I'm like just rubbing it down towards the center, like towards the heart, and kind of moving it. And that helps too. And the other thing about the kidneys, and this is something that Toni really encouraged with me too, is just like, just let it be. Like, and I think that I just kind of was like, I know you're going to do this. Like, I just started believing in my kidneys, and I get so excited when I see filtration, like, and it's not consistent. Sometimes it's not there, but it's like, I just know that this is going to work. And I just keep affirming that. And I really think my kidneys appreciate that, because initially I was putting so much pressure on them. I was like, you need a filter. I don't see anything happening here. And Toni was like, just like keep going. It's working. Like I had some major eczema on my fingers that cleared up. My inflammation started to change. My brightness in my eyes changed, my energy. So it's like focusing on the things that are working and just trusting that the kidneys, they're going to get there. They've been really having a hard time for a while here, and they need some serious love and not so much pressure. I think we put a lot of pressure, at least I have on this whole process. It's like, and we're not only healing, Kasey, you're not, and Justin and me and Toni, it's not only this life. Like this is stuff that we inherited, and this is stuff that goes back 7 gens back and is going 7 forward. And that really resonates with me and gives me a lot of power to know like how important this work is, and not to get like pulled aside. And I mean, it still happens, but just to really stay focused on what are we really doing this for? Like, yes, it's for me, and it's for all of us. That gets me kind of like excited, knowing that you guys count on me, to not fall off the boat and go eat burgers tomorrow. Like I'm going to keep doing this. And just because you hold that space for me, I keep doing it too. So thank you for that too.
Yeah, I would just echo that. As far as worrying about the kidney filtration, I was in that same sort of boat of just like always looking and wanting it to happen. And I don't check anymore. I don't really want to add that to my like thing to think about, because yes, the body is important to heal, but we're also taking it a step further with take no thought. And when we get stuck in these kind of mind traps of like, I'm always worried about something, like I know what I'm doing is the right thing. You know, I have my moments where like maybe, you know, I made a sauce the other night where I probably added a few too many sesame seeds in it, and I'm feeling the repercussions of eating too many sesame seeds. But we have our moments, but as long as we keep going on the right path, we know we're going to heal. And so just staying true to that and not worrying about the nuances of like, and comparing ourselves to others. Like that's a huge thing. Our ego always wants us to compare ourselves to others. It always wants to get us to say, oh, I'm not doing this, so I must not be doing something right, or whatever else. But that's always left brain thought. That's always getting us stuck in that sort of like perpetual. And then when we do that, we do actually create a more acidic response physically, because when we're spinning in that egoic driven world, we create physical repercussions within our bodies as well. So we're actually hurting, not helping our progression. So I'm really just letting go of all of those, sort of like checking my indicators, you know, unless I have like some real ailment that I'm looking at, I'm not going to be looking at my kidney filtration anymore, and just letting it be, unless I'm going within the urine therapy, and then I will look and make sure I'm not drinking any gunk.
Oh, that's great advice. I think we take it too serious sometimes with the kidney filtration, and yeah, it's important to just send your organs love. I remember when I was on the fruitarian path like many years ago, and like my bowels got over so much, like they were wrecked, and like all of a sudden they're functioning great. And I remember just getting up and just thinking, all right, organs, let's cheer. Way to go, colon. Like, that was great. Good for you. And like, I just felt like all my organs were like clapping for my colon. Like, you did it, buddy. We got your back. And if you send your body love, like sometimes we forget to notice the things we've already healed or accomplished in life. We're always working on the next thing, but give yourself credit. Like you've probably overcome a lot of things in your life, whether that's physically or whatever accomplishments we've had. We never like sit back and say, way to go. Like, look what I've done. Like I've traveled the world to Thailand. That was such a amazing adventure. And I became a man out there. Like I was coming off like just living in my mom's house on welfare, like I was nothing. Then I built myself out there. Like I'm proud of that. But I never give myself credit. Like give yourself credit right now for make a list of all the things you've ever accomplished. And then you'd be like, I did all that? Like, wow. Wow. So good for you. It's
Yeah,
important.
beautifully said. And it is, you know, and you know, ultimately we should stay present and just be here in the now. But if we are going to look, you know, time has this beautiful way of providing us an opportunity to see where we've grown from. So if you are going to use that timeline to look at your past, like make sure it's celebrating the wins and celebrating that, you know, because if we dwell on the could have and should have, and you know, that kind of mentality, it's always going to get us stuck into that. You can't affect that, but I can celebrate the progression and see how far I've come within that, and yeah, just celebrate it. So yeah, well said. I like that.
And it also comforts me that we could be dealing with things from our past lives. I must have made some mistakes a couple lifetimes back, because like, wow, just thinking about it. I have a friend that's an intuitive, and she said that I might have been a knight in another life. Like I might have been killing people with swords and stuff. Like who knows? Like, but it's comforting to know that, okay, I didn't, like we're just trying to get this lifetime right. We make mistakes, but eventually we'll get it right, and then we don't have to do this trip around the flat dome anymore, and we can just move on to something more fun, flying around, and everything's just happy. And yeah, this is a tough school.
Yeah, well, we'll do that, and then we'll keep going higher, and then we'll get to that point where we're bored of that, and we'll come back again. That's a that's the pendulum that keeps going back and forth, just singularity to duality, duality to singularity, back and forth. But it's okay because we have infinite time. There's no limit. It's just an experience.
Nice, you guys. It's so good. So good. Yeah, we're superstars. We could celebrate. I think we're so used to getting so much crap too. maybe we're like questioning, but no, it's like we're superstars. This is not easy stuff to be doing in this day and age. It's not. It's totally worth it. We see that. Everybody else sees it as a threat. But it's what works. It's biology. It's chemistry. It's not my truth. I didn't make it up. It's the way that creation is set up. And there's a lot of us that are seeking to be aligned with creation because we realize that's where our joy is. That's where we get out of suffering and into our natural state. So this is that journey. This is the one foot in front of the other, and every day, and taking no thought. Justin, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's been huge for me. I'll have a great day, like diet wise, but if I take thought, I have inflammation. So it's the same thing. It's like, okay, you drank juice all day, but you let your head go in a spin around this. And then the body responded to that as well. So that's also quite acidic. You know, it might have been better to just have the freaking coffee. I'm not going to have the coffee, Toni. but what I'm saying is that, like, you know, it is there are, I didn't realize how equally important they were and how they play together. And they're in a relationship, they're married, you know, take no thought and eat fruit are like a perfect marriage. They're a recipe for success. If one of those is a bit off, then there's an imbalance. And so they're both really important. And I think they both really happen simply because you intend that to happen. And you wake up with that intention. You're just like, look, let it be for the highest for me and everybody around. And it will be.
Yeah. Well, are there any other questions or topics we want to get into? We've got about 15 more minutes.
Yeah, I've burned through a lot of my questions. We did touch on medical medium. I don't want to like throw him under the bus because he's doing like basically the right thing. Like it's mostly raw vegan stuff. I feel like he's a fraud. I have to say it. I love his story. It's like, oh, cool. Like, okay. I've made many videos about him in the past, but like, I just see people struggling to get well on it. And like his celery juice thing, I noticed a difference. I was making green juice every day with like celery. I was mixing it, lemon, spinach, whatever. And then I switched to just celery juice after reading his book, and my digestion improved. But I also did all his other stuff. I went raw vegan, and that's eating fruit meals and smaller meals. And okay, but I thought like celery juice, he is right. There is a spirit. He knows everything. So I based my whole life on his protocol. So I have like his Berkey filter his water filter in the back that barely removes fluoride. And like I followed a lot of his advice because he has all these links to stuff. It's like, okay, I'll get his shower filter, I'll get his water filter and everything. We give people too much power sometimes. Like, got to go inside and just trust your own intuition as well. All the alarm bells going off, like he probably doesn't have a spirit talking to him. So it's I don't know, but it's like mostly good information. So I'm not too mad at him. It's a clever scam that he has, and he's healing people. Bless you. But I feel like don't get stuck in believing everything he says. Just take some stuff and let it sink.
I personally don't have any experience with, I mean, I hear people mention medical medium all the time, but I don't know what he teaches or what you
Well,
find.
his main thing is he says he has a spirit talking to him. That's the spirit of the Most High, like the most arrogant spirit I've ever heard of is he's just, I'm the spirit of the Most High. I'm right next to God. Did you know that? And he's just like, and then he tells that he chose this one man to give him all the secrets. And he says he can read people. The spirit's telling him like that guy farts a lot. He's got liver disease. You could help him with some. And it's a cool story, but I've seen too many people failing on it and me trying it myself, and just the celery juice. I don't know.
I have a lot of experience with medical medium. And I thought he was just it. So I got his books and all of them. And it was living, breathing everything that he came out with. I listened to all his shows, his podcasts, and read his book, gave away his books to people. I thought, my gosh, you have to hear this. What did change for me was that when I learned about him, I gave up on all meat, fish, dairy, eggs. That was a good start. So the first few weeks, I was definitely getting better. But and I was completely believing in him. I had a little issue with the spirit thing, but I thought, I don't know it all, so just go with it. I did go with it for 18 months, and that is when I got to a point that I was bedridden, had to use a wheelchair, was very depressed, and thought this was in October, I thought I was not going to make it till the end of that year. It was getting that bad, not knowing why it was so bad, because he had all these good things and I was following everything that he said to do, including the mostly disgusting celery juice. I mean, a bunch of celery, juicing, it gives you about 16, 18 ounces. And I was going store to store sometimes to make sure that I got the celery juice, even when it was super, super expensive. Well, from Dr. Morse, I learned that one celery stalk is okay to eat in a day. But how many celery stalks are in a bunch? 10, 12, maybe even more. And it has a lot of inorganic salts, and the body doesn't know what to do with it. It's too much. It always gives me really bad cramps and really bad diarrhea every day. And I read the book, about the celery juice and the healing, and I was still doing it because it was supposed to help. And in the meantime, I got sicker and sicker. So I had to look towards other things because I gave up looking at anything else because this was it. Well, when I found Dr. Morse, I finally figured out why it wasn't helping. And following his diet with cooked food, with white potatoes, which are like glue in your body, and they're actually used for making glue, it started to become clear. And also why I had the diarrhea, why I had constant cramps in my body. And nothing was healing. And it was just the wrong combinations of food and the wrong foods. I mean, eliminate all the cooked foods and you do better. The only thing that I give him credit for is he got me over my fruit fear because the way he explained about fruits. Other than that, I think he is a big fraud, and I probably get a lot of people very angry at me. But if you look in his books, and that already started with book number 2 or 3, is all the celebrities that he is claiming being his clients and how they endorse his book. It's one celebrity after the other one. And I thought, if you have the right information, why do you need to do that? That was actually a red flag for me. So maybe not so much for others, but right now, I can't even look at him. And I think it is it's rather dangerous how people are following it. And I'm the admin of an 38,000+ people, and there are many, many, many people that came from medical medium and had severe problems. So I'm not the only one who had that experience. There are many of us.
Oh, me included. Yeah, I was a huge fan. But I think that, everything you just shared, Toni, was spot on because it was too much celery. Like, wow, did it rip up my gut, my whole thing. And I have a lot of friends that are like still diehard medical medium people. And I find they like him because he allows them to be half-assing. Can I just say that? He just like lets you kind of half-ass it. And if he really knew the truth, he did get me over my fear of fruits. That was beautiful because at the time I was keto. And so he was transitional and I bless him for that. But he didn't go all the way. And there's something there that I'm really curious about with a lot of cats out there right now. It's like, what's stopping them? You know, is it their fear of going all the way, or is it they're being paid to go all the way? I don't know what it is, but it's something. And so there's a block, and that just doesn't feel right at all. I mean, energetically. So I know a lot of people that are still subscribed. I did all of the supplements. Like I did all of that. I spent $1 bazillion on all the crap, and nothing really changed as it related to my tumor. And I was absolutely sicker, and I had very little energy. I think that having all of those supplements is really hard on the body. And that's actually when I started drinking coffee again. I'd been off it for a while. So it was like I was doing all this medical medium stuff, but it was like I just couldn't get my energy going to do my life. And so, yeah, that was, it's really heartbreaking, I think, on so many ways to see how all these cats are just selling out left and right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you brought up a good point, and Kira said it in the chat. If someone's books make a bestsellers list, they're cabal sponsored. Like plain and simple, if organized society is drawing attention to something, it's because it's something's wrong with it. Something is steering you astray. They don't allow people to make it into the spotlight of the mainstream media in any capacity if they are telling the whole truth. They might have particular aspects of the truth embedded in there, and it makes it more alluring because we know the truth. And so when there are little flavors of truth sprinkled in there, we get that taste and we're like, oh, this must all be truth then. But they always do it in this particular way because that even if it's 99% truth, that 1% lie is really going to get you. It's really going to get you. So just be wary of anything that's popular, anything that hits all over social media, and anything that, you know, whatever sort of capacity it comes out and it's like everyone's doing it, you know, turn the other way. It's probably not good. I mean, I would say it's guaranteed to not be good. And that's just the way that it works for now, until we get past this point where we have so many deceivers within the media, but we've got some work to do to get to that point.
Yeah, like I wish he was right, because I used to love potatoes. There's not many things I can guarantee in this life because we've been lied to so many times. It's hard to navigate your way through, but I can guarantee you, if I start eating potatoes, I start breaking out like you wouldn't believe, like a massive amount of whiteheads all over my face every time potatoes, 100%. Like it won't happen with white rice. It won't happen with other starches. It's potatoes. And that's like his number one food. And I'm like, I'm not going to eat them. I don't care what you're saying about them, that it's all detox. Potatoes don't detox you. They're starch. It's gluey starch. Like, how could it do it? There's no mechanism. Maybe a raw juiced potato. I think even Dr. Moore said they're very astringent, but who's doing that? I wish he was right. And like, yeah, he has a lot of celebrity endorsements, like some big Hollywood names that is like, that's interesting. I forget that one guy's name. He plays like the Italian mobster. Robert De Niro, yeah. He's like his number one fan, and that guy is like pure anti-Trump and like, I don't know.
He doesn't look healthy at all.
No, he doesn't.
Looks really angry.
Yeah.
It's trendy. It's so trendy. It's like cute veganism. It's like, let's just be cutesy vegan. It's like, oh, I've got my spirulina and I got my smoothie. That's how my friends are that did it. They were like, oh, I did the phase 2 fast. And I'm like, I just told you what to do. Just drink orange juice. Stop doing all that stuff. Like they would eat these huge plates of greens with like 15 asparagus. I was like, you don't need to eat all that food. I told you, if you want to clean out your heavy metals, just drink orange juice. I'm telling you what to do. Why? It's so simple. They're running around town trying to get all the herbs, all the things together. I did it too. It's not a judgment, friends. It's really not. It's just, we've got to start looking at how crazy we are.
Yeah. And he warns people against water fasting and juice fasting. So that should have been a trigger immediately. Like, those are two of our biggest tools to heal the body. And he's like, don't ever do that. You don't never go more than, I think, an hour and a half to 2 hours without food. And I was doing his heavy metal detox smoothie every day. That thing's gross with the dulse and the blueberries, and it was the spirulina in there, like everything. And I don't know.
I feel you.
But people like we're like desperate, some people, and they're like, okay, someone has the answers, and we just go for it, and it'll get you on the right road. I think it's not the ultimate answer, and we got to go within. The body knows. You just have to like retrain it. My intuition is picking up on this juice fast. I'm just getting these synchronicities and downloads, and I'm like, no, that something about the energies of this whole year have been changing that way. So it's like, this is the time of like, no more lies. We're seeing things for what they are. It's like, okay, that's obviously not true keto, and it's good. Thankfully, we need that.
It's the revelation. We're in it. We're going through it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're coming on about 2 hours. So let's go ahead and start making our closing comments. This has been a great conversation. Marie, do you want to start with us? What do you got to share?
Just thank you, Kasey, for your just transparency. I love how you roll. I think it's really important for us to just be so honest and clear, and just like, this is what's working for me. This is what's happened in the past, and I think this conversation with Toni, it's just really great to have advocates that are also doing the work. And I think that Toni's story about, getting out of a wheelchair and all of the gnosis, I just want to thank you publicly right now for all of that. It's just been incredible. And I appreciate it. And also with my family, because it's about all of us doing this together. And yeah, and Justin, I just find you to be such a soul brother. I love you so much. So thanks for the opportunity here. Yeah, it was super fun. I can't wait for the next show.
Yeah. Kasey?
Yeah, just thank you all so much for coming here, and everybody in the comments who's on a healing journey. Just know that you're getting better. You're doing the right thing. Don't doubt the fruit. That's the biggest thing that brings us down. We start thinking sugar's bad. I have a video coming about that. Sugar's not bad. Every plant food on earth is high sugar almost, except the few nuts and seeds. Like, all these plants are here for us to eat. It's obviously not the sugar. And yeah, just the comments, lots of love today. I've been reading it, and just notice sometimes these keto people, they're spreading so much like fear and anger, and it's like, you're healthy though. Like, people make fun. Like, who would ever make fun of somebody trying to heal a disease? I don't understand that. Like, it's so hard. Maybe because I've been through it myself, but like, these people are like laughing at you for taking so long to heal, yet they think they're healthy. It's not health. That's not, maybe they have a physically fit body on keto, but if you're not there everywhere, just being compassionate, you're not healthy. So we need to get that, spread the love. People are going through so much with illness, and we've been tricked, and it's hard. So have some compassion, and that's it.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All right, Toni, what have you got for us as we close out?
It was funny how you put me on the spot. Come over for 2 hours.
Well, you did so well.
which I had not done before ever. I want to thank you guys, because I do keep learning from everyone that I talk to, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm happy that I can share what I learned, and that you share then further, and more people learn about the truth, because it's, the truth in food and in health is so important. I mean, what are we without being healthy? Life is very difficult then. And what are we if we're not in control about our own bodies? So thank you all so much. I love all of you. You all look and are very beautiful. And I'm happy to have you as my extended family. Actually, my close family.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're the
So
true family. Yeah, thank you, Toni. Love you so much. Yeah, Toni, wow, I can't express enough gratitude for all that you do and all that you share, and yeah, just going around it's amazing. It's truly amazing. Your service is so bountiful and truly admirable. And yeah, thank you all for being here today. Kasey, I love these experiences. I love getting to know you more, and I love like having this, like gaining another brother. It's truly magical. It's truly, this is what we're doing each and every day when we open ourselves up and have that magnetism actually happen. We start to attract those that are on that same path, and then we exponentially grow together. It's beautiful. So thank you for being here as well.
Feeling is mutual. Happy to have your brother and my two sisters here. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, and Maria, I love you. I love you so much. Always, always, always. But yeah, this was a fantastic show. The chat was beautiful. You guys are amazing. I think we got to a lot of questions today. But we're gonna keep doing these shows. And Toni should anytime that she wants to, she's gonna be joining us on the Q&A with me and Charlie biweekly. So we'll have lots of opportunities to ask her questions, which is such a blessing. And then, yeah, in 2 weeks' time, we should hopefully. So we were planning on. I mentioned the Free Melon Society, and we should be getting Eli on for the show in 2 weeks' time. He wasn't able to make it today, and fortunately, Toni was able to fill in, which worked out perfectly. But that show in 2 weeks should be pretty exciting. And then other quick announcements: we've got Bible study tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central, starting with Revelation chapter 12. And then Thursday is Everything Under the Sun with Marie and Charlie. You got any sneak peeks on the topics this week, or you're muted?
I don't know where we're going this week. I'm sure it will be somewhere fascinating.
It's always mind blowing, always exciting to see. So yeah, and that's I think it for shows this week, and then we'll start it again with Monday, Miraculous Monday. So yeah, love you.
Oh,
Yeah,
love
go
you
ahead.
too. Tomorrow night, I'm meeting with my friend Denby from Australia on my channel at 8:30, and we're having a heart-to-heart about all the things. So if anyone wants some evening stuff, that's tomorrow night or Wednesday night at 8:30 Central.
Beautiful. Yeah, and if y'all aren't subscribed to Kasey's channel, and you want a beautiful example of someone who's healing himself, but also have, having like laughter. Laughter is so needed, and when we can stop taking ourselves so seriously and just be vulnerable and laugh at ourselves. Kasey is a shining example of that. So check out his channel, Vegetable Police. The link is in the show notes, and then Toni's got her links there. She's got a YouTube channel where she puts the best of Dr. Morse's videos along with a few others. And they're really, really helpful short clips to kind of answer a lot of questions of what we've gone over today and share some knowledge of Dr. Morse. So make sure to check that out as well. And then Marie's links in the show notes as well. But yeah, this is a great show, guys. And I love you all so much. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.